Good evening. State Senator Tracy Potter. We're on my deck for another in our series of Grillside Chats in my race for the United States Senate. It's October 3rd. I'm running against Governor John Hoeven for the U.S. Senate, and from the start I've said that my experience as a state senator better prepared me for the race than his as governor. As governor, you're a CEO. You get to order people around. Your word is law. You can see this distinction, I think, in our debates, particularly the last one. We had a debate on Friday, and the governor quite frequently tried to extend his remarks past the time that the moderator had allowed. The moderator would raise his finger, the governor would ignore him, the moderator would start to speak, the governor would keep talking over him. Sometimes all three of us were talking at the same time because I won't tolerate that. But, as a CEO, as the governor, his word is law, and he gets to do that in his office. But, of course, it's not going to work like that in the United States Senate. Every one of those people has the same call on the chair and the same rules to follow, and he'll have to learn a little bit of legislative decorum. Maybe it's not just his personality. Maybe it's just a tactic that he does, but certainly is annoying. Anyway, the point that I want to raise is this: I wasn't running against the governor. I'm running against a guy who wants to be a freshman United States senator, so I've felt that his record as governor was basically irrelevant to the race. I know a lot of people say that it's not. A lot of people believe that his record as governor is the only thing that matters. I say no. I think actually it's what we're doing looking forward. Who can be a better U.S. senator, not what kind of governor he's been. But actually, it's all he's running on. He hasn't talked about what he actually wants to do in the United States Senate. He just talks about what he's done as governor. I've been on many forums, seen him speaking, and that's pretty much his theme throughout. But the only thing he ever says about the U.S. Senate or Congress is that he accuses me of being someone who will be a tool of Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. He said it 7 times in our first debate. It'd be anybody who knows me, knows my personality, knows my legislative record, can see how laughable that would be. I'm nobody's tool. Let's just put it that way. I make up my own mind. I am truly an independent voice, and that's what I'm running on. But since the governor wants to talk about his record, I want to talk about 2 aspects of it. One is his unrestrained enthusiasm, his cheerleading for oil development in western North Dakota. Because we all love the oil development. America needs the energy. It's been good for the people who are leasing their mineral rights to the companies. It's good for the companies. It's really good for the state treasury. And in fact has allowed me to be a tax-cutting Democrat and allowed the governor to take credit for proposing taxes, tax cuts for property taxes for Walmart, and take credit for that. But the fact is that development has gone too quickly. And when I've mentioned this, the governor says, well, yes, Tracy just wants to go to Washington to slow things down. No, it's got nothing to do with Washington. That's not the place where this lands. This lands on the governor's desk. Because the governor has in his power, as the president of the Industrial Commission, the head of the Industrial Commission, chairman, that is, he has the authority to issue permits for oil drilling. And they hand them out like candy up there. 140 rigs are drilling at the same time. We've more than doubled production in 1 year. With this increased production, we have lost revenue, both for the state and for the companies and for the royalty owners. And the reason that we've lost revenue is we've produced it faster than we can get it to market in a cost-effective way. And so there are discounts that are greater than they normally are for North Dakota, where we, as we all know, we buy retail, sell wholesale, and pay the freight both ways. But it's more than that. It's the impacts on the communities. It's on the roads, which we haven't been able to keep up with. It's the water, but mostly it's the housing for the workers. And the governor says, well, we're working on the housing. We're taking care of that. We have plans. You say, well, no, the plans were up front. You've missed this already. Because what you needed to do when you were handing out those permits, when somebody came in for that horizontal well drilling permit, you had an opportunity to say to them, Governor, well, what's your business plan? How many temporary workers are you bringing in? How many permanent workers will there be? Where will you house them? Where will you house them? Because what's happened is, it's just catch as catch can. They're coming in and they're living in tents, actually tent cities in Williston and in Minot. They're living in campers at places that aren't campgrounds. They're just scattered all over western North Dakota. And they're driving up rents in our cities out there. In Williston, a senior citizen may have been paying $450 a month for rent, and today is asked to pay $750. What are they supposed to do? Reach into their fixed income and pull that money out? Or are they supposed to move and leave Williston and go to Bismarck or some other place that hasn't been impacted quite as much? What are they supposed to do? Well, the governor didn't plan for that. He doesn't see it as his role, but it was his role. He's just a cheerleader for economic development, for oil development, for the oil industry, from which he takes tremendous campaign contributions. You should look at his record. I have. It's coming out of Texas, a lot of it. But he hasn't watched out for North Dakotans. Well, there's a second place where, as governor, he's really let us down, and that's in the State Investment Board. He is supposedly chairman of the State Investment Board, but he only sends the lieutenant governor there. And the lieutenant governor has pursued a strategy of investments that has lost hundreds of millions of dollars for the retirement funds for public employees. Hundreds of millions. And we looked at this. The reason that we looked at it, the reason there was an audit of this, is that the head of the state retirement fund committed suicide. Steve Cochran, back this spring, killed himself. And so people wondered, well, why? What did it have to do with his job? Because it seemed to have to do with his job. And so an audit was performed, but not an audit of why we lost hundreds of millions of dollars, why we'd made the investment decisions we made. Instead, they just audited Steve Cochran. They just looked at him. But in doing that, I was there when they delivered the audit report on Friday, and in fact I got to ask questions about it, because I'm on not on the audit committee, but I'm on legislative management, which puts me on all interim committees, if I care to attend. I asked questions, and it appears that these are the answers. In fact, the answer was absolutely, Senator Potter, absolutely. Because here's the conclusion. We paid $26 million to managers of our investment funds. We have about a $4 billion portfolio. We paid $26 million. The state of Wyoming paid $9 million to manage a $5 billion portfolio. Was Steve Cochran paying too much to these investment managers? No. No. It costs more to invest in risky stocks, to make risky investments. And that's what our State Investment Board had done. It cost more because of the asset allocations set by the Lieutenant Governor and the State Investment Board. And what were they? What was different about theirs than the state of Wyoming? Well, in the state of Wyoming, they don't make risky investments. But here, we invested 10% in small caps. We invested 5% in private equities. We invested 5% in emerging markets. And we invested 5% in high yield. 25% of our investments were in what were riskier investments. And so when I asked the auditors, I said, so the $17 million more that we paid from Wyoming, that's because of the asset allocation. But really, it's the hundreds of millions of dollars that we lost in the State Investment Board. That's because of these risky asset allocations as well, isn't it? And he said, absolutely. Well, that's on you, Governor. You should have attended those meetings. But no, you want to leave the state. And you want to leave it in the hands of the Lieutenant Governor, who chaired these meetings and directed these hundreds of millions of dollars in losses. And so, as we look around the state, and we see the flooding at Devil's Lake, and all the damages in that area, and we see the Red River Valley flood protection still not completed, with hundreds of millions of dollars in expenses outstanding, and we see the oil development